NorbCam coming. All right, let's try that again. What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with another episode of Walk Talk. What is Walk Talk? Well, this is my attempt here to start a new habit of trying to do a little bit something for my health. Me and my business partner and buddy Mike Lorraine, 80s Broncos fan, both kind of came up with the pledge we're going to start walking on a regular basis, at least once a day for about 40 minutes a day. Try to make this a regular thing. And I thought, well, to give myself some extra motivation, why not turn this into a little opportunity to do a little video while I'm doing it? So I'll be extra motivated to do it. So Mike's been good. He's been sticking with it. And I missed a couple days. Got to work yesterday, so I didn't do it yesterday, but production shoot. And then I missed the day before dealing with some stuff with my dad, trying to figure things out. So back on it today. So excited to be doing it. It's a cold day here in the Pacific Northwest. Kind of see it's cloudy. It's about 36 degrees. So it's a little chilly. It warmed up a little bit the last couple days, but it's a cold one, but kind of like it. It's good for the fresh air. But I know I've been updating you guys on my dad's status, and I've figured I'm going to stop trying to come up with dates or tell you dates that he's going to come back, because every time, I think now we've had 3 dates thrown out there, and each time it's been a change of plans. And it all comes back down to the same thing, where he's got to be good enough to be able to, when he's doing something active, his oxygen level just has to not drop so much like it's been. It's been dropping to like below 90. It's like 88, which is just a little too much of a drop, especially when your normal breathing is supposed to be between 95 and 100. So the good news, he has been breathing on his own without any oxygen when he's in bed. So whenever he's just laying around, he's actually doing quite well. It's just whenever he tries to move and get up and do any kind of physical activity, which isn't much right now. Mostly he just tries to sit up on the edge of the bed, and then they have him now a little more actively kind of getting to standing, and then kind of walking in place, just moving his legs some. And so the nurses there have been advised by the physical therapist to do a little bit more to try to spend time with him, helping him with that, because sometimes they'll just go in there and do the rounds and go, leaving my dad to try to do these things on his own. And it's hard because he gets this feeling like he's having a panic attack when he starts to feel his breathing come down, and then he gets really nervous and anxious, and it makes him not really feel comfortable doing it if nobody's around. So supposedly the nurses are spending a little bit more time helping him do that, and hopefully that'll speed things up. So what I will say, without actually trying to make any kind of plan on the date, we're hoping for some good news this week sometime. So, and I'll cautiously, optimistically say, I would like to think he'll be here or in his own home watching the Super Bowl. Now, for him to watch it with me, like on camera and all that, that may be a stretch, but I'd like to think he'll at least be back home, able to watch the Super Bowl, which is a week from Sunday, on his own ability. So hopefully that'll happen. That's kind of what we're hoping will be the case. So we're just being fully ready to go when he gets out. So, but one thing I've noticed on several posts, whether it's Facebook or YouTube comments, is some people will say, oh, it's a 99.98% survival rating. So, and I almost started getting to that same mindset myself when I started seeming, and it seemed like everybody who I knew was getting it, was all they got was maybe a mild runny nose, and nothing real debilitating, not like even flu-like symptoms, not like cold-like symptoms. And I was thinking, oh, maybe this is all it is. Maybe Omicron has just come down to that, to where it's all we have is a mild cold. If that's the case, well, no big deal. We should be fine. So then this thing hit my dad, and obviously changed my perspective on it. But the difference now, though, is, I mean, it looks like my dad's going to be getting out of this okay, and if all is understood on our end, is that he'll eventually return to his normal state in time. The part that nobody seems to acknowledge or doesn't really talk about is this time between having gotten it and the point where it's, okay, I'm back to completely 100% back to normal. This could end up being, when all's told, from here, we're given an estimate of about 3 weeks to full recovery from here. And he's already been in the hospital 2.5 weeks. So if that is, without setbacks, if that time, add that all together, it'll have been over a month and a half that, since my dad got tested, that he's been dealing with this, living in this existence, which involved having to be on oxygen, having to be in the hospital for 2.5 weeks or more, having to be on oxygen almost all the time, and sometimes higher level than most patients need. And so at the end, if my dad makes it back in 3 weeks or so, he'll fall under that stat of, oh yeah, well, see, he survived, he was fine. But we don't know how this might, if there's any lingering effects to this after he kind of, quote, returns to normal. But then there's all the lost time in between, and how he's had to, suffer with this for such a long time. And it hasn't been fun. There's been, I think people kind of mix up with, people who had to quarantine. Some of them are just totally, just like hanging out at home, watching TV, like life hasn't changed. They're just spending it at home instead of with other people. But for my dad, it has not been a good quality of life for the past month. Or 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Just being in the hospital. I mean, sorry, no disrespect to the hospital system and doctors and nurses who work very hard out there, but being in the hospital sucks. You're not eating the food you really want to eat. You're connected to machines all the time, listening to all the beeping in there. You have people coming in and out, poking you, prodding you. He's getting poked for blood tests and this and that, like a pincushion every day. He can't get solid sleep because schedule's all over the place. And then when he does finally fall asleep, they come in and do a test on him. So he has to deal with that constant interference. And then, just the fact that they don't allow visitors, we can't spend time with them. The phone is our only method of communication. So, he can't eat the food he wants to eat. He's limited to whatever they got on TV. I guess that's it, and on his phone. But human interaction, he's limited to the doctors and the nurses and the staff. And we, can't spend time. That's just the harsh reality of it. So the point of saying that is, just because the end result, the stats look like it's not a fatal statistic, it's still a horrible way to live, especially my dad being 82. I count every day, every week, every month as precious time left. And you don't want to feel like you got to spend the rest of your, to spend a whole month with less than ideal quality of life, isolated away from the people you care about. And that's time taken off your calendar. And there's only so much time we all have on this earth. And when you're at the end of it, it becomes even more limited and precious. So, that's the thing that, I think gets overlooked in the statistics when you just look at, well, who's actually dying from this? And if they're not, then they're fine. So this has been a very learning experience for me in that regard, because up to now it's always been something that's happened to other people. You know, somebody else's situation, and then just kind of call yourself lucky that it hasn't hit you. But so it's been a good wake-up call. I don't know really if we could have done anything different. And that's the thing that's tricky about this sucker, is that you don't really know what is the solution for making sure that it doesn't happen. I think you can't guarantee it. Guy running by here.
PSC, right?
Yeah.
I was a PSC too.
Really?
Norb?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I knew you lived in this area.
Yeah.
I see the videos. And there's always like, there's a car. I'm like, oh, that's my street here. Next street over. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. What's your name?
Nick Colson.
Nick. Okay, which department?
I'm in the grid mod.
Where's that?
Grid modernization team. Under Elaine Markham, or it used to be her. Now it's Reed Shibata. Yeah, project management, program management, whatever.
Do you work at home, or do you actually go into the office somewhere?
We're still at home.
Okay. Well, it's funny. I was just we just did a video for their LNG department over in Gig Harbor.
I saw that one. Oh no.
Yeah, no, this is new. This is
new one. Okay.
Yeah, you saw the new one that just came out?
Yeah,
yeah.
came out, yeah.
The gas filter one. Yeah. No, we shot the one that's going to be for next month. So we're going to be putting that one together. But that's the actual liquid natural gas facility in Gig Harbor, where they transfer from the trucks and disperse it out there. So
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Do you actually live in Woodside?
Huh?
I'm curious whereabouts, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah.
What street?
164th. It's basically on the west furthest side of the development.
Very western side. So you back up to the
Then the not on the side with the green belt, but across the street from the side of the green belt. So if this is Fairwood, this is the furthest west houses. We're kind of over here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm right on that. We go up Parkside Way, going up the hill.
Yep.
And then on the left, there's a big green belt. We're just down the hill on 166.
So you're in the first division, not the second, not on the other side of the power lines.
Correct, on the south end of the power line.
Okay, all right. So we've been neighbors this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, nice meeting you.
Yeah. What's the name again?
Nick Colson.
Nick. Okay.
You have a PSC email, right? Or...
No, because I don't technically work for PSC. Yeah, we're a contracting company. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, Norb.
I'll try to find your contact and send you a high email or something.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, if not, you can reach me at NorbCam.com. That's my NorbCam. Yeah, that's my NorbCam.
Gotcha.
Yeah, NorbCam.com. Yep. Awesome. All right, nice to meet you, Nick. All right. That's funny. You never know who you're gonna run into, even in the middle of the woods. So for some of you guys who caught that part of the equation, people are like taking out, oh, wait, he lives what? On what street? I'm gonna find him. Yeah, we just did a shoot yesterday, as you heard. PSD, Puget Sound Energy, they're one of our big clients that we do a lot of work for, and we do these monthly videos, which I'm the star and host of, which is quite an honor. And they're all kind of safety related, and we've been doing this new series this year, working on the third one we just shot yesterday. It's kind of a, what do you call it? It's kind of like the show Dirty Jobs in terms of format, in terms, where the host gets to go on meet somebody who has a job and that they do, and I get involved, find out what they do, and maybe get a little hands-on in it. So it's kind of that sort of format. So that's what I've been doing this last few months. It was a little different from what we were doing the last few years. But yeah, it's so funny. Of all places, in the middle of the woods, on a running trail. But yeah, so where was I? I lost my train of thought. But I think I was just talking about the unpredictable nature of this. There's no way to guarantee that you're not going to get it. But obviously, there's certain things you can do to try to minimize the chances of it, and we all know what those things are. So I won't get too much into it, but I just hope that when you're thinking about that you do consider the people who are not necessarily yourself, or the people who are not going to be affected by this, but the ones who do, and that those are the ones we got to try to be careful of, to try to protect. So yeah, that's kind of that. I want to take a look at, it's not too cold out here. I'm gonna pull these gloves off, see what I've been missing in the chat here. Who do we got? Oh, quite a few. Gavin, Murphy, Marianne, Lori, what's up? Getting snow. Christian, Mr. Bit 10, Wolfie 92, Andrew. Can I afford deluxe suites? Oh, whoa, I've been in the suites as a guest, but yeah, no, I can't. That is way beyond my pay grade. East Coastin', thank you. It's your boy Axe, what's up, bro? Rosemary Dawson, it's cold, overcast here on the other side of the pass. Nice. Luke 99, Tyler Parcher, of course, wants to know when the next Madden stream is going to be. A lot of it depends on how the next few days. We're kind of in a standby alert mode right now to know with kind of have to be ready to go. It could be as early as tomorrow. It could be Friday. So we're just sort of almost every day waiting. So is today the day? Is tomorrow the day? Is it today? Tomorrow? Day after? So, like I said, I've had so many false starts in terms of when I was pretty much almost guaranteed it was going to be on a certain day, and then it didn't happen. So, Mr. Bitten, praying for me to two of us to watch Super Bowl, yes. Unlucky Clover, did you like the Niners losing the NFC? I was actually, if you saw my live stream reaction to the end of that game, which is on my channel, I was actually strangely rooting for the Niners. Not because I like the Niners in any shape or form, but I don't like the Rams either. And I don't like the idea of the Rams taking this thing and hosting this thing and the championship and then getting to host the Super Bowl and then win it in your own home court. I mean, too much. So I figured the 49ers were the other underdogs. It's kind of fun when you got no rooting interest or it's equal on both ends. Why not root for the underdog? Well, underdog lost. So now, got to root for the ultimate underdog because there's no more room to, no more, this is the end of the line. All in on the Bengals. Just like Lori says, Lori Cross says, all in on the Bengals. What do you think of Richard Sherman's comments? Actually, I missed his, I did see the comments, remind me of what he said. I know there was people reposting what KJ said, saying that Russ needs to do like Tom Brady did and give up money so that he had more money to spread around to the rest of the team. So I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. So yeah, tell me what somebody can post. What is the comment of that? Warning label on a box of surgical masks. This product is an ear loop mask. This product is not a respirator, will not provide protection against COVID-19 and viruses or contaminants. So basically, your point is those types of masks don't work? Is that the point? I don't know. I know there are those who think, well, the masks don't work, so why even bother with them? But I guess I'm one to think that, well, even a little bit of protection is better than no protection. It may not be 100%. I remember in the beginning when this thing first started, it was all, the only kind of mask that would work would be a N95, which I do use those. But, you know, they went away from that eventually. They said, you know, take any kind of mask. So it's constantly changing. Even the guidelines, sometimes they're freaking confusing. And I've always had to laugh at the restaurant policy, which allows people to go eat in public. You gotta wear your mask as you come in, and once you sit down, you can then take your mask off. Or you can not have a mask on except when you're eating and drinking. And, well, if somebody really wanted to get around that, they just like constantly have popcorn in their hands or something and just hold it there. And then someone says, hey, put your mask on. Hey, eating here. I've been holding the same popcorn for 2 hours, but I'm eating here. And I don't remember the ceasefire that was signed between COVID, the nation of COVID, and the world that said, when we are eating, you will not infect others. So you will stand down, stay in the mouth, nose, any other orifices that you travel from, and until we are done consuming our meals, you will stay there until that time. Then you'll be free to go ahead and attempt to infect others. I've always had to laugh at that because logically the part of me that wants to go, okay, I'll follow these rules. Don't make no sense, but I'll follow the rules. I understand why they do, because otherwise we collapse our entire economy if we shut everything down completely. But there's a bit of, hey, I have to kind of laugh at our attempt to try to balance proper, protection with keeping things open. But hey, what do you do? It's not a perfect world. It's not a perfect system. You gotta just do the best you can. That's how I kind of look at this whole thing is, right? We're never going to be perfect in how we handle this thing, whether it's from the policies implemented from the top down to us as individuals doing what we can. But all you can do is the best you can, right? I mean, you can at least try to wear something that might protect you and others. Washing your hands. If you do it one more time than you wouldn't, then at least there's that chance that maybe you get that one rogue virus that's hanging out on your fingernails and you get them. But we're never going to be perfect. In a perfect world, we'd be walking around in hazmat suits, completely, feeding air from a tank that doesn't get contaminated and mixed with other people's air. I mean, that'd be the only way you could, for sure, make it to where you're not, at risk of catching it from somebody else other than complete isolation by yourself. But even if you did, even if you're up in a cabin by yourself, say, okay, you know what? I don't want to do any of these things because I'm going to just live in a cabin up in the woods with no human interaction. But at some point, you got to get your food from somewhere, right? Where are you going to get the food from? You got to go pick it up yourself, which means you'd be going to a store somewhere getting exposed. Or B, you have it delivered. But what if that delivery person has contaminated it potentially? So I don't think there's any 100% way you can really, isolate and cut this thing off. But we just got to do the best that we can. That's all I can say. Let's see. What else? Let's see what else. I'm a former at USMC, NBC. The right mask worn the right way will work, but most of us don't. But I say, do what you think is best for you. That's coming from Mr. Bit 10. So that's it, I'm sure that half the people wearing masks out there would fail some kind of mask filtration test, right? There's cracks and holes here. Sometimes they're down below the nose and, not adjusted around the nose correctly. And, but what can you do, right? Again, it's not a perfect world. You just got to do the best you can. What is the question? Is Cooper coming home today, Joey de Rosario? Don't know. I've been told sometime this week, but we just don't know right now. Yeah, I already answered the Madden question, which is I don't know, because I have to be on standby, and that might involve going to the hospital at the end of the day and making things happen real quick. So it's a definite day-by-day thing. Oh, we've got pedestrians up ahead. Oh, what are we doing here? Town meeting or something. We got a group of 4 stopped ahead. If something happens to me, and this is the last time you saw me, I'm on the Woodside Trail in the woods. Morning.
You still need me? Otherwise, no.
No, just kind of.
All right. Okay. I didn't get jumped. No, just friendly neighbors on a little walk. This is what it looks like in here. Lori says, Dad will come home when the hospital he is ready. Sometimes a setback happens and it's awesome they're watching him closely. Yeah, that's all we can kind of hope for. I'd much rather him be there longer if it means he's safe than send him off prematurely and us scrambling at home, not prepared or not equipped with whatever he needs. So, how far is this path from your house? It's nice to have if close. Yes, this is very close to my house. I only had to walk like, I don't know, 3 or 4 blocks out of the neighborhood because we live right on the edge of the woods, and then we're right into the forest area where they have these hiking trails. You can bike, you can run them, you can walk them. And this is the path I've been doing every time. I might have to do like reverse it or find some other routes, but I kind of like it. It's got some nice up and downs, get the heart going. Terrain's a good mix of things so it doesn't feel like the same old sights every time. So it's pretty good. So this is part of the hike where I get out of the woods and into the open space area, which is the power line. The big power lines are going over. Speaking of PSE, although I don't know if these are PSE, I think this is something else. I forget who owns this area, but they are these big old towers of power carrying lines all the way from across the mountains over there, probably from Snoqualmie, getting a hydroelectric power from the waterfall. Bigfoot. Is Bigfoot still around? It's funny that there's still rumors of Bigfoot. I remember Bigfoot being a big thing in the 70s. When I was a kid, they had Bigfoot movies, and there's an episode of The Bionic Man, the $6 Million Man, with Bigfoot in it. And he was quite the thing. I can't remember when they first found that footage of the dude walking. It's like, you think in this day and age, the only footage of Bigfoot is that grainy Super 8mm footage from like 1960 something. And with all the cameras, all the cell phones, all the security cameras put all over the world, but still no one's caught that Bigfoot on camera. And if it is Bigfoot, dude's got to be like 90 years old now, right? I mean, if he was, let's say, sprightly young early 20s in the 60s, he'd be like, what, 70, 60, in the 60s at least? So, or 80. No, he's like 70. He'd be like 70 years old. That's an old Bigfoot. Unless there's a whole bunch of Bigfoots. Maybe there's not just one. Maybe it's a whole family of them. Which just makes you wonder, too, there's a family of Bigfoots. Big feet. Bigfoot. I don't know how you pluralize Bigfoot. Bigfoots. Big feet. There would be a bunch of baby big feet. And mom and dad big feet. And the baby big feet would probably have little baby big feet, which means you'd have even more big feet running around, multiplying your odds of seeing one on camera. Yet somehow it hasn't shown up. I always thought these were scary as a kid. Don't they look like human in terms of body shape? You got 2 legs, a couple arms, a big head. I just thought it'd be cool if they made some kind of a movie where these things come to life. They start going, that'd be pretty cool. It is pretty amazing to me how they built these things, though. These are huge. And I guess they are just put together by a bunch of small pieces that fabricate together to make one big piece. But from a distance, they look so massively huge. There's that right there. Andrew Powell said, I want to see a $6 Million Man movie. You mean like an actual motion picture thing? Well, you can definitely Google it and watch it on YouTube somewhere. Someone's got a clip of it. Tyler Parcher, I already said, I don't know when I can do the thing yet because I got to wait to find out what my dad's situation is. So I will schedule it when I know I have time to. So we shall see. David says, Yeti says, right. Bigfoot, why would Bigfoot be in Renton? You will be able to find Bigfoot in Detroit, LOL. Really? That'd be an urban Bigfoot? That'd be pretty funny. If Bigfoot actually was walking down the street in downtown Detroit, somebody would just think someone's walking around in a Chewbacca costume. and not think anything of it. But it could be anywhere, anytime. It goes the same with the Loch Ness Monster. What was the other one? The Abominable Snowman. Those are those were the big three. Those are the big three back in the day in the 70s. Those are the three things when you mention mythical monsters of the world. It was Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, and Abominable Snowman. Now, what's funny about that, at least there's video footage of Bigfoot. Loch Ness Monster, for all I know, they have one photo that always shown, is very famous. It's this. There's the ripples of water, and the head looks like, it's like a neck, like a brontosaurus, or what do you call it, brachiosaurus. Like the neck and head of this thing sticking out. Now, I could have been underwater going like this, and it'd look probably just as convincing. But that was the only photo. There's no film, video, or anything of the thing moving. And then, the Abominable Snowman, I don't think I've ever seen any pictures of that thing. I think at best I've seen like sketches, cartoon sketches and stuff. But, I mean, that one's really thin. There's nothing on that guy other than name. The best filmed existing footage of a Abominable Snowman type would be from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, when that creature, I don't know if they called him the Abominable Snowman or some kind of snow creature. Remember the one that they teach how to walk and stuff? I think they taught him how to walk. Or was that the Heat Miser? Or the Cold Miser? I forget now. But they did no, he had a tooth. The dentist, the elf who wanted to be a dentist, I think fixed the snowman's tooth, and that's why he was always mad, because his tooth was bothering him. Isn't that how the story goes? I should know. I've seen this thing a million times. Oh, this is the spot where we filmed the Chicago Bears rival video. Let me show you what it looks like. This is the spot right here. I'll set the exact framing for the shot. Brings me happy, warm, fuzzy feelings. The video we made here with Mark Collins and Brian Abker. All right, so I'll show you the spot right here. You might recognize it. So the show starts. I think it was right here. I do a pan off this shot here, and then there's Brian and me walking in here talking about bears and what to do. Come shoot Brian's shots this direction, and then reversed it to me this direction. And then the best part, Mark Collins is a Chicago Bear fan, was leaning on that tree right there. Right there. Remember that? Right there. He's sitting there eating a bunch of Cheetos all over his fake beard. And then he came running at me. I threw the bratwurst and beer, landed right about there. And then he comes charging again when he finds out it's light beer. I throw the beer from here, conks him in the head, and he lands on his butt right there. So this is the spot. This is the famous location. And Luke 99, the outtakes from that video had me cracking up. That was, I think, the best bloopers from a video we've ever done. Hands down. I mean, there's always bloopers from every video, but those were the funniest. I mean, that's why there was so much fun making that one, because it was just the three of us, minimal crew. Everybody working on it was basically in it. And we just, every blooper was, especially Mark, because I think because he was wearing that stupid costume. And then he was doing that, light beer. I'd never seen Mark act before outside of his own personality. So that was just hilarious. So if you guys haven't seen that, just look up Chicago Bears, NorbCam rivals, and you'll see that one. You have to see it. It's so funny. If you don't, one of my favorite ones, short and sweet, funny, and bloopers are the best. So you have to go check that out if you haven't already. All right, this is where I do my final uphill and burn some much needed calories. Way too good on the shoot yesterday. Whatever good I did over the weekend, I killed it with my diet yesterday. I'm not proud of myself. I couldn't resist. It was part of the food. It was free. It was free lunch for the crew. There you go. And as I said, this is where I was talking about the power line monsters. This is the trail I went down. That's where we shot the video. We came out on top. Look, you see snow at the top there. The altitude, snow level, about 2,500 feet. And then we're back up here to top of the hill with more metallic monsters. That's pretty funny. David says, NorbCam runs into Bigfoot and turns into a Seahawks fan. You know, there's actually a sea squatch. It wouldn't even really be that original because somebody's already taken it. There's a guy whose outfit is a Sasquatch. He calls himself Sea Squatch. And he's kind of like a greenish, of course, Bigfoot. It's pretty good. Now, of course, most of you already know, if you remember the Sonics, their mascot was Squatch. And he was basically a big Sasquatch looking dude who did all kinds of stunts and everything like that. You know, it was pretty good. I remember there was a back in the 90s when the Sonics were still pretty good and when they're still here. They had the dance team, which Mike Lorraine, 80s Broncos fan, his sister actually performed on that dance team till like 1997 or 98 or something like that. And yeah, I had a crush on one of the girls who was on the dance team. This was before I got married, of course. But then she ended up, I think, marrying Squatch. So I lost my crush to Sasquatch. Bigfoot stole my girl. That's why I should label this video. Get way more hits. Bigfoot stole my girl. Anyway, back onto the residential side of things. This is the road that will lead me back to the neighborhood. Reminds me I had to get some stuff for the mailbox on the way back. But I'm glad to do this. I always feel good. Work up a little sweat. I'm all bundled up. The hard thing about when you're bundled up for the cold is that you're cold to begin with. So you gotta wear all the layers and stuff. But then once you start going, you get really warm. So then it's too warm. I'm like boiling a little bit. Whew. All right. Anyway, I guess that's the latest. I think back to some things that have happened the last, in Twitter reminders and Facebook and stuff. Things come up in the memories and say, hey, this happened 7 years ago. So, of course, Super Bowl 49 happened like 2 days ago, 7 years ago. Hate to bring up old wounds, but man, so many if only, shoulda, coulda, wouldas about that day. But I must say, that was one of the most fun experiences of my life, barring the ending. The whole week leading up to it in Glendale, going around town, making appearances, meeting people, attending parties. I mean, it was so much fun. And the whole place felt like a Seahawks town. I couldn't see there were no New England fans to be seen for the first, whatever it was, 4 days that we were there before the game itself. And then at the stadium, suddenly they showed up. But it was so much fun. It could have been, man, what a party would have been afterwards if we won that game. I think, but instead it was this miserable experience of trying to get the heck out of there. Getting separated because I went the wrong way where the car was parked, and it took like 2 hours for them to find us. I mean, it was terrible. And then the flight home, we had to sleep on the floor in the terminal in Denver. Which, if you win, you tell the same thing, but it'll sound different. You go, oh man, we were so excited. We got lost going to the parking lot. We couldn't find each other for 2 hours. But it didn't matter because we won the Super Bowl. We slept on the floor in Denver. Who cares? I would have slept outside in the rain with that celebration. So you can tell the same story with the same information, and it just changes because of the tone of the circumstances that surround it. So New York was fun though. The year before, when me and my dad went to the Super Bowl, I think the part that's not on the video was the race to get out of the airport, because I don't know if you guys remember, but New York got hit by a huge snowstorm the next day after the Super Bowl. They expected to hit at the Super Bowl, and that's why they're all ready for all this cold stuff, winter gloves and hats, and this basically cold package that they had waiting for us, hand warmers, everything, at the stadium. And we didn't need any of it because it never turned out to be that cold, and no snow. The next day it was coming down like crazy, and both me and my dad, we had to take separate flights because we were traveling standby. It was tricky, so we had to just basically split up. And just like when we flew in, we were split up. And we both got out of there with just in the nick of time. And the snow falling on the terminal, on the runway. Flew out of there. My dad was right behind me. And then they closed the airport for like 2 days or something. So everybody else got stuck in there while we were able to get back in time. Of course, if we'd actually gotten stuck in New York, in the middle of snow after winning the Super Bowl, that wouldn't have been that bad either. That would have been a not bad way to get stuck someplace. You know what I mean? So, 2 very stark different trips. One very fantastically, amazingly awesome. The second one couldn't be as more devastating. Still lingers today until we get that next one. But we'll see. But now it's so now the Bengals and Rams fan. This is, if you get to be the teams going to the Super Bowl, there's just something cool about that. You get 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks to soak in every day. It's almost too long. I remember the countdown into it almost felt too long, except when we were in Arizona. That was in the world by itself. But when you're just wait, the fact you have to wait 2 whole weeks, you're ready to play the next week. You have to wait 2 weeks for this game. But you hear all types of analysis, everybody asking all kinds of questions, all different press conferences from all different journalists asking stupid questions to silly questions to entertaining questions. Some have nothing to do with football. But it's but that's the fun of it. If you're part of that and it's your team, you just drink it all in. You're just enjoying every little bit that your team is just being constantly talked about in the news, speculated on. And I remember Super Bowl 48, nobody gave us a chance. They were all in on Peyton Manning, the best offenses in history, going to demolish the Seahawks. I don't know if you guys remember that. Remember that? We were, I don't know anybody who had us to win. It was a pretty overwhelming favorites to Peyton Manning and the Broncos. So when things obviously turned the way they did, that was pretty fantastic that night. From the start, never stopped being fun. But yeah, so lucky Bengals fans, lucky Rams fans get to enjoy all the hype. Must be weird. It's strange that for all the years that we've had Super Bowls, 50 plus years of Super Bowls, never had a team hosted the Super Bowl and had their team go to it until last year. And then it happened again, twice in a row. How does that happen? How does it happen twice? One might argue some form of conspiracy theory, right? Because there's a lot of people who wanted this game to happen the way it did, to have the Rams hosting the Super Bowl in the town that it's in a brand new stadium, a relatively brand new stadium. It's only a couple years old. Adds to the storyline, that's for sure. Sam and Saf. Homage beats 2 in a row, very sus, right? I mean, the odds, man, just the odds of it working out that way. I mean, I could have seen actually, the odds of Tampa Bay repeating. There's a lot of people who had the Buccaneers repeating again. Of course, they weren't hosting, though, so the fact that, the odds of it happening twice after nobody had done it, it's pretty amazing. What do you think the Seahawks record will be next season, says Sam and Saf. So hard to say, at this stage, because we just finished the season where we finished 7-10, and we haven't done anything drastic yet other than fire some coaches. We haven't even replaced them yet. And then to try to make a prediction on the record, I'll say this much. I said they were going to go 13-4 this year. Clearly that didn't happen. They went 7-10. I don't think they're a 7-10 team. There's an old saying that you are what your record says you are. But I don't really think the Seahawks are truly a 7-10 team. If you look at the way they finished, I feel like we're above 500 team. Probably what I initially guessed, more like we could have been like more of an 11-6 team had we normal things played out the way they should have. 13-4, I was probably pushing a little bit on some of the games that I said we'd win. But really, if I were completely not being a homer, I think 10-7 11-6 was not unreasonable, which makes me think I think we could do that again next year. But it depends. It depends on how healthy we are. I think the health bug definitely hurt in a lot of different players. You know, with a new scheme, would our defense be better and off the top and start off on a better note rather than being the worst defense, you know, in the division or in the NFL? You can't start well when you're the worst defense. So if we can start off just being what we are midway or beyond in the latter part of the season, like we did this past year, then I think we could be 10-6 or 10-7, 11-6 or better if we play more like we're designed to play. So which means we've got to have healthy running backs. Hopefully we can get Rashad Penny and or Chris Carson back. But then other than that, I think, you know, Russell Wilson not getting hurt, you know, everybody else staying relatively healthy, then I think that's very doable. So I'm going to roughly guess at this point 11-6 is, I think, a safe guess right now. All right. What is Dave Scribb saying about the Kraken? I missed that one. But I am with you guys, Andrew, everybody, about the Bengals. Oh, Donnie Pearson says the Washington football team has a new name, the Commanders. I'm going to go check that out and verify if that's the case. Washington Commanders. Feels like some kind of XFL or USFL team. You know, it's just, I get used to that, like the Washington Commanders. I guess it'll grow on you in time. They all do. It just takes time. If you think about like Green Bay Packers, if somebody came up with that name now, they're like, what the hell kind of name is a Packer? What's a Packer? What's a Brown? Are we going to just go for colors now? We're the Washington Burgundies. But, you know, it just is, so we just are used to it, you know. Commanders, that name is dumb. Yeah, you know, if it sticks around long enough, we'll eventually get used to it, I suppose. All right, well, we'll check it out. But I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for hanging out for a little while. And I'll let you guys know what's up. And yes, if there is a Madden update to be had, I will certainly post it up. So I'm looking for windows of time to do it. But got to be in standby mode right now with my dad's situation. So, all right, you guys have a great rest of your week. And take it easy. Go Hawks.